Here in the Musandam of Oman, a land of mystery begins where the road ends, where rumors of an ancient culture persist, their crumbling mountaintop villages soaring thousands of feet into the desert sky. Unseen and unstudied, known only to the local fishermen. Are there still parts of this world so unexplored that ancient civilizations remain undiscovered? And if so, could a team of adventurers even make it through this landscape? This is where our journey begins. I founded Adventure Science in 2008 for expeditions just like this. We pair adventure athletes with scientists to make discoveries in the planet's last unexplored places.
I've had the advantage of adventuring for 40 years of my life. Hard adventuring, hard racing. I've done an awful lot of stuff.
Jim and I first came here in 2010 with another archaeologist. We literally stepped off the computer screen of Google Earth into this. We came here really knowing nothing. We didn't know how steep it was going to get. We didn't even know if there were villages along the coast.
Last year, the expedition ended with a little bit of an injury.
Hello?
And I broke my left ankle, my left medial malleolus. It's a hard bone to break, and I managed to do that.
We've got some major goals on this expedition. The first goal is to continue to document the archaeological sites that we've been finding since back in 2010. The second main goal is to complete the traverse of the Musandam. Certainly for Westerners, it's going to be a first. And then the third goal, as always, is to get people through safely and then share what we do with the world.
What's different this time, being the third time, we've got some new talent on the team.
I do have a background in landscape archaeology, where we closely relate human behavior to landscapes of the past.
I'm not only the only female, I'm also the youngest. I'm actually probably half of Jim's age. I used to compete internationally in show jumping and synchronized swimming. Then I got into more extreme sports like surfing, climbing, mountain biking, trail running. I'm excited to explore this place.
This place is pretty remarkable. These massive mountains that are shooting out of this crystal blue sea, and there's so much climbing to be done. There's so much exploration. It's a good place to just hop on a boat and go and explore.
I'm happy, we're finally moving. This is good. This is what I live for. The past projects, we've been completely self-supported. This time, we've got a double-decker fishing dhow. It might as well be a Carnival cruise line, but it's letting us move very quickly through the mountains. That's one thing that I think we're taking advantage of this year. In the past, with heavy packs, it really slowed us down. We spent the first few days of the trip retracing the route of the past two expeditions, exploring the terrain and examining sites, but inching ever closer to the unknown and the mountain crux which lay ahead.
Another 20, 30 meters, guys. It's right here. Great job.
My hands are getting a little beat up. Lacerations on my hip and on my legs. The rock here is pretty brutal. I can't imagine anyone living up here. Gino is an incredible archaeologist, explorer. He's doing some amazing things all over the world. Seeing him stumble across one of these sites and examine it, I was always trying to take little pointers to see how we would approach it.
Traditionally in archaeology, you would take a lot of time to map out these sites. And now with the development of drones, we can get very detailed data from it and draw a very nice plan in a minimal amount of time. It's not that long ago that people have left these places, maybe 50, 60 years back. The sites that we came across are mostly relating to irrigation and agriculture. what starts forming here is climate change history. When we talk to the people in the village, they were saying only 50 years ago, they've been up on the plateau growing crops. Now they're only down at the coast and the villages up on the plateau are deserted. It's due to a lack of rain, it's due to a lack of water. We also have what seems to be refuge for people from the coastline during ages of piracy. They try to protect themselves from incoming ships that would raid the coastal villages.
We were exploring in some of these little structures over here. Out of the corner of my eye, found this really cool vessel. That's
incredible,
the most
dude.
intact thing that we've found yet on the trip.
Little by little, every day revealed a bit more about how people were using this landscape in the past. When we produce these data sets, we then can pass them on to specialists who really understand and can derive the right conclusions from it.
I'm excited to explore this place. I'm just seeing it as I'm going, and from what I've seen, it looks pretty difficult. I'm looking at the ridgelines and I don't really know what to make of it.
This terrain is by far the hardest terrain from a third, fourth class type of trekking that I've ever done. It is so rugged, you cannot put your guard down. If you do, you will trip.
All right, dude?
I'm good. Day 5 was a big mountain traverse. We had no idea what to expect.
So many unknowns we don't know. How comfortable are each person being out there in unknown terrain? If somebody doesn't want to go, then they should speak up.
I really feel confidently that I could get everyone, regardless of their ability, through this, assuming that that backside doesn't look as bad as it could potentially be. The threat of bad weather, an unknown route, and we had a party of 7. Probably the limit of what I'd be comfortable with being responsible for a trip like this.
We are entering new terrain. We had pushed up to that point, but not beyond it. We really didn't have much in the way of beta.
Navigating was by far the funnest part, but also the most challenging. I felt fairly confident we could navigate and find our way through.
Good work, buddy.
Whew. Yeah, it's really nice coming up here, especially being led by these experienced guys. As it turned out, I do have a little bit more vertigo than is to my liking. And so some of these downwards sloping ledges with the huge drop-off and the rubble on it were quite challenging psychologically to me.
The fear for me was when we were on those knife ridges, one loose rock and someone's gonna fall, and this stuff is just unforgiving. You fall on this stuff, you're gonna get seriously injured.
It wasn't until we got to the 3rd summit, about a halfway point, that we started reaching a bit more of a technical problem. We had to wrap a couple of times. There was a lot more climbing involved. There was a lot more loose rock involved.
Luckily, the Musandam has a lot of weaknesses. If you persist long enough, you'll probably find a way through.
All right.
Yes! Oh,
Up top, man.
thanks, dude.
Woo!
Oh.
Oman certainly holds a special place in my heart. Having faced all the challenges that we've had and trying to tackle this, it's extremely satisfying to make a way through.
We finally were looking at doing the isthmus. We really only had 8K of tricky terrain that leads into Kassab.
Doing an expedition like this is definitely a first for me. It was challenging at times, but I'm glad that we decided to pull through as a whole team. I hope to be back here again soon.
This was 18 months since I broke my ankle. Knock on wood, this ankle held up really well.
You know, I have a renewed appreciation for the Omani people who would have lived here at whatever time. Jim and I always joke that you see water on both sides, but you can still die from thirst because there's just no fresh water out there.
Well, there's definitely a lot of scratches on my shins. Given the situation that not much archaeological research has been done in this peninsula, it is really valuable that we get out data. Whatever we get out in terms of information changes the picture.
The highlight of this trip for me was seeing two of my friends accomplish something that they've put 6 years into. It's really cool when people set big dreams for themselves and they stick with them.
Having completed Traverse and seeing the paved road meet right at the wadi proper, and I'm going, this trip's done, we've just nailed this. And it was an awesome finish.
Being the first to document these sites, we've really just scratched the surface on understanding this ancient culture. That's what I love so much about these projects. They show that for those willing to venture into the unknown, there's still significant potential for discovery.